Hello everyone, Daniel Yuck here. Thank you all for tuning in today. I appreciate you. Today we're going to go ahead and dive into this review on this tattoo machine from a company called Mummy. We're going to take an up close look at this machine. We're going to test out the performance and everything in between. So should you have any questions at all at any point throughout this video, please feel free to drop it in the comments below. I'm going to do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. With that being said, let's just dive straight on into this. Where I would like to begin is showing you all the box up close in its entirety, so that way you can be well acquainted with the packaging on your end. As you can see, Mummy has some of the best graphics that I've seen on their packaging. Very straightforward. Let's go ahead and check out what's under the hood here. So as you see, we're greeted with the tattoo pin. We have the charging cable with a charging dock here, or a USB adapter there. And then we also have an O-ring here as well. Let me see if there's anything else. And if I am correct, that's the contents there. Let's take a look at the tattoo machine here up close. So this is the tattoo machine in its entirety right here. As you can see, we have a very vibrant green right there. And the tattoo does have a bit of weight off the top. The majority of the weight is sitting in this area right here, not so much up here in the battery area. That's to be expected, as batteries are typically fairly light. And this is the top part. We will remove that film here as well. So that's the top part of the machine. So this is going to be voltage down, voltage up, on and off right here. So if you hold it down, the machine fires up. Press it, the machine shuts down. And 5 is the lowest voltage range. Let's check the highest. So 12 is the highest voltage range that it does go up to. So if I hold it down, it goes in increments of 5 as you see. But if I press it in singles, we can go ahead and dial in to a specific voltage if we need. So let's say if we want 8.2, 8.1, 7.9, you get the idea. You can go ahead and dial in to taste on your end. So I'm a big fan of that. I need my machines to be able to fluctuate by the point rather than in 5s, but you could do both with this one. Let me shut this off and let's take a look at the build right here together. So I'm going to take a look at the battery first, so we can proceed with that. So this is the build of the battery right here, as you can see. And it does have a little bit of weight, but not as much as we would think. Majority of the weight, again, is sitting in this area right here. But this is the battery. This is what powers the machine there to push the needle. Allow me to show you the machine side here. And this is the machine right here. As you can see, there's a plate that's screwed on. And under there, you can see some components down on the side under the plate. And as you hear, it is a click grip. And it is made of some sort of metal material. I'm assuming we can autoclave this as well. Now, for me specific, I'm not a big fan of machines that were, for example, the Q series from CNC, we can kind of unscrew and we have the top part that has the motor, and then all of this part we can really wipe in there and get solutions of our desire into the parts that we need. With this right here, I would put this into an autoclave, but prior I would wipe it down with Opticide fully everywhere, the same process, but I would, package it and then put it into an autoclave. For the grip, for the machine, I would simply wipe it down in its entirety, and I would always just keep it closed upon doing so. I wouldn't need to open up the machine as I'm demonstrating here, simply because if I'm going to be sterilizing or wiping it down, I would want it closed so that way I don't expose the circuits inside to any liquids. And for this, I would just simply wipe all of this down with Opticide wipes, as well as maybe even drop like some Cavicide in there, some drops So that way we get the solution. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is I would have to be a bit more mindful about where I am cleaning and how I am cleaning this aspect of the machine to avoid any potential cross-contamination. The machines that don't give us the ability to disassemble to access certain areas that we need to access so that way we can go ahead and properly sterilize is something that I'm naturally against. I envision a machine that's super easy to disassemble. We can go ahead and clean every crevice that we need. We can access that crevice easily with a Q-tip and or just some drops on a cotton, something to that extent. These type of machines right here don't really give us that ability, and I'm going to shed light on that as well. So that's one downside. So for me, instantly, that would knock it down a couple of stars just because of that. We would have to be, again, a lot more mindful of where we're cleaning, how we're cleaning, when we're doing it, ensuring that we're doing a good job. Even then, I would still be weary. So that right there is how I feel about that. In terms of the grip though, these are always easy to sterilize and autoclave or however you sterilize on your end, but this part cannot be sterilized as we are going to ruin the components inside. So that's how I feel about that right there. I'm not truly fond of the design. However, I am a fan of the pin style tattoo machines. So right now, off the bat though, I'm feeling around 3 stars for the build. It's not something that I'm truly fond of or anything. It's not something that I would naturally want to reach for, simply because the build is a bit more complex over what I am used to. And again, that is fully subjective. Let's say if you're needing a good affordable machine to practice and start off with and you're not going to be doing human skin, this isn't a bad way to go. I'm sure that this is going to perform on human skin. I'm not saying that it's not. However, for me, this is just my approach. This is kind of me just talking out loud. I want a machine that is super easy to use while still remaining powerful. But not only that, I need the machine to be super easy to sterilize. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into wrapping the machine and we'll test out the performance here as well. Wrapping the machine is going to be like every other approach here. I'm going to simply grab a piece of blue film. You can even use saran wrap. Whatever choice you choose to go with on your end is a good way to go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply take this out right here. Since I don't want that Vaseline or the lubricant to get everywhere in the bag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the bag first and I'm going to pull that grip off. So what I'm doing is I'm creating an entire barrier around my machine here. And I'm gonna remove this like so. We can bring this over here and leave it like that. And on this end, you can simply tie this up. What I wanna do though, prior to wrapping this end right here, because I want to be able to have an adjustable grip all the way through my process. I don't want to have any struggles with that. So I'm going to grab a piece of grip tape here. Now, this is not a barrier, so don't misconstrue that. I'm not using this as a plastic barrier. This is not a substitute. We should still put a plastic barrier. What I'm using this for though is so that way when I do put the plastic barrier over my machine, it has a nice comfortable grip, and that's all that this is for right here. So once I have the grip here, I'm going to get a piece of saran wrap. And I'm just simply going to wrap it around. And that adhesive wrap that we placed down before is going to give us grip that we need. So that way, when we are turning and adjusting the depth in the process of the tattoo, we don't have this plastic sliding around all over the place, and it's really adjusting with ease there as we need it to. So as you see, I'm getting the saran wrap and I'm literally just covering the grip as much and as best as I can here. And at this point, we have a few layers of plastic around this grip, ensuring that we have a good plastic barrier. So once that grip is covered, what I would like to do is grab the adhesive as well and just simply continue wrapping it around. So the adhesive is on there. I have the ability to fully adjust the depth here, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is simply set up so that we can test out the performance of the machine. But just like that, we do have an entire barrier over the machine. So the machine's fully wrapped, and I have the ability to still adjust the needle depth on the fly however I need, which is great. So let's set up for the performance now. So here we are up close. We are going to test out the performance of this tattoo machine. I'm going to be running at 8 volts, as you can see, and I'm going to be using an ink claw needle, a 5-round liner. I think this is going to be tension 1 for the ink claw needle. And then we're just going to be pulling lines here on the trusty real skin. So it is more of a harder hit. It is a bit more direct, and it has a bit of give as well. The voltage, the performance, everything feels stable and consistent upon using as well. I'm not noticing any adversities or any fluctuations from the machine and the needles I'm using as well. So back to back, I'm pulling lines here as you see, and allow me to clean them. And what I will say is the machine definitely feels stable and consistent. So I'm sure and I'm confident that this can definitely pull lines and push bigger configurations. Again, this is a 5-round liner. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to switch out to a round shader just to see if we're able to push bigger configurations. So we're going to be pushing a 7-round shader here, and we're going to see how it pushes larger configurations. I'm getting kind of the same response as round liners. It's very consistent and stable. Again, I'm using an ink claw 7-round shader. I think this is going to be medium tension for the needle. Still running at 8 volts with the Mummy tattoo machine. So if I was gonna need to line, I'm confident that I can go ahead and line with this machine. My only downfall that I'm not liking at this current moment, again, is the build above the grip. It's a little bit too complex for me for sterilization purposes, I guess. That's really the issue that bothers me, which is why I wouldn't give it above a 3 stars, just because of that. To me, I'm a very simple person. I have a very simple approach. Sometimes less is more. When machines become complex with, I guess, different components to the point where we can't get liquids or chemicals into certain areas to sterilize, becomes an issue with me. And by that, I mean, let's say if this was a real session and I'm going to be taking out different configurations, which every single one of my tattooed requires, chances of me getting this part of the needle contaminated are very, very great. Or at the very least, I'm going to have to consider everything contaminated. So therefore, this would be contaminated, and then I'm going to be contaminating in here, which is technically the top portion of the tattoo machine. That's where my worries come into play. That's my issue. So therefore, off the bat, I'm going to knock down 2 stars because of that. However, the performance, on the other hand, is there. It does perform. It's capable of lining, pushing smaller needles and larger needles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to test a larger round mag. This is going to be a Big Wasp 25 round mag right here, just to see how it pushes. And as you see, it's also pushing with ease. Allow me to go ahead and pick up some ink so that way we can just test out some packing of black here. And again, these are just small, mild demonstrations illustrating the potential of the tattoo machines. If they weren't able to line, pack black, or any of that, we would see it here in the performance. And I'm using little to no effort to achieve this here. I'm simply just inputting and moving in small little circles to ensure I'm inputting the black where I need it to go. And this also feels smooth and consistent. So after packing this small part of black, I can say that overall the machine definitely does perform in multiple fronts in terms of lining, packing black, and possibly even shading. Allow me to stick with the same mag. I'm going to drop it all the way down to 5 volts, and I'm just going to test out some effects here just to kind of see. Just trying to go for some sort of like dot textured look. I'm just trying to illustrate some points to see the potential and the capabilities here. So it would be capable of shading as well, because you can see I'm getting a nice gradient there. And this is actually just straight black ink and no shading or anything, just straight black Formula 23 and 10s. And I'm getting different tones there, but I'm not trying as hard. If I was using an actual, gray wash made or set already made, forgive me, it would come out nice. So it is capable of giving us textured looks upon shading as well. So in all fronts, I can say that the machine definitely does perform in all the basic essentials, again, such as lining, packing, and shading. But what I feel it lacks is the simplistic build for sterilization purposes. Okay, so in my professional opinion here, I feel that this machine is a solid machine here, and I'm going to give it a 3 stars here, and here is why. Now, in terms of performance, if you're looking for a machine to get more acquainted with, to not break the bank, practice with, this is an all-around great machine. That's not to say it's not good for human skin, because I'm almost certain this machine as well is more than capable of tattooing human skin. However, for me, I'm very big on sterilization, and I guess for me and my thought process and approach, less is more, simple is better. If I'm able to disassemble the machine in, for example, 3 different parts to where I can really get some wipes and really get into all the crevices, nooks, and crannies that I need to get into to properly get chemicals to where I need to get them to, that's ideal. I can autoclave this grip, and almost if not all pen style tattoo machines, we can autoclave the grip, so that is a no-brainer there. So I can autoclave this grip. However, where my issue comes into play is, for example, if I'm going to be doing a tattoo session and I'm touching multiple needles, I have to consider all of this, again, cross-contaminated. I have to consider it contaminated, so when I put it back in there, it's going up here to this part, the issue. Now, this part of the machine, we can't put into an autoclave because it'll damage all the circuits and internal components. So that is where my issue comes into play. It's not so simplistic anymore. You would really have to take your time, make sure that you're wiping down, and be very, very mindful of how you're cleaning the machine, especially for this top part up here on this end. So that is why I'm giving it a 3 stars, just because the build is a bit more complex rather than simple. Other than that, the machine definitely does perform on all fronts. If you have any questions at all, if I didn't touch base on anything specific at any point throughout this video, please feel free to drop it in the comments below. I'm gonna do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. I also have social medias all under the same name as my YouTube account. I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all under Daniel Yuck. That's gonna be DANIELYUCK. I would truly appreciate the support on there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me and ring that bell, as I will be bringing more videos like this for you all. Thank you for tuning in yet again. You all have a great day.